Hi everyone, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. On today's lesson, this is one I freaking hate. I hate to make it. This is me reacting to, I just testified in a trial on Tuesday out of Iowa. There's a link to the verdict in the description. It was a murder trial. Cameron Leonard charged with murder in the first degree murder, not second degree murder, first degree murder, which in Iowa carries a mandatory life sentence, and the jury just returned the verdict, so I figured I'd give you my reaction to it.
To win the fight after the fight, you need help. After a use of force, I trust Firearms Legal Protection to help me win the fight for the rest of my life. From their 24/7 attorney-answered hotline to coverage for the use of all legal tools, Firearms Legal Protection has you covered. Get a discount by signing up at the link below.
If you couldn't figure out by my tone in the opener, the jury just convicted him of first-degree murder. They deliberated for just a couple hours, and usually when they deliberate that short, that's what goes down. You can go read about it. You can Google Cameron Leonard, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and there's all kinds of news stories in there. Quite frankly, I think that there was a bunch of mess, and I got to be honest with you, I'm heartsick here. Okay, I'm still kind of figuring out what my brain is saying in this one. And there's a couple things I want to say, okay? Number one, as an expert witness, and I said this in court, that an expert witness is not part of the adversarial system, okay? So I don't win or lose cases. I simply educate. I educate the attorney first that hires me or asks me for my opinion. I look through all of discovery and say, yeah, I think this is a good case. I think this is not. I think this is justified use of deadly force or ordinary force or not. And then based on my discussions with the attorneys, I can write an expert report, or we can sometimes do pretrial interviews with the other side, or in some places like in Iowa is a unique state for several reasons on this stuff and does this thing called trial by ambush, where the defense attorney doesn't have to disclose their experts until very, very, very late. And so that's what this attorney chose to do. And this is a public defender case, okay? So this was a case that the accused was indigent, basically, and so was assigned a public defender, and that public defender then got some funds to pay for me. I worked this case for a much reduced rate, all right? A very significantly reduced expert witness rate because it was a public defender case, and none of those cases are gonna be great. You never hire an expert witness on a case that's simple or that's very straightforward. I've got 5 more cases right now on my docket that I'm working. None of them are simple. None of them are great. Okay. And let me say this, you want to avoid cases where you have to hire an expert witness. I just need you to know that. All right. So some immediate lessons. I'm going to think for a few days, and maybe next week or the week after. I told the prosecutor actually that I would email him on this one because this one has a video, and I might put the video out. I might. But I told him that I'd email him first, and I told him that in court. And so I've also got a couple things I need to think about talking to the prosecutor about, because frankly, I think the prosecutor missed a couple of important things. But because he missed a couple of important things, he made a case to the jury that was compelling. And I'm going to, again, this is just me reacting. Okay, so just deal with me on that. If you're like, John, then this video says nothing and you're a piece of crap. Okay, fine. I'm kind of heartsick right now, and so I'm just kind of responding to it. Now, of course, I recognize that those. Okay, so this is now according to a jury. The jury almost always gets it right. I don't think they did in this case because I don't think they got the information that they should have. I don't think that they got a full and fair look at the evidence and what it actually meant. And I wish they would have. But the way that stuff works in Iowa, there was some quirks to that, okay? But for now, a couple of things. Number one, I think you want to avoid, if at all possible, ever being in front of a jury. And I know people who say it's better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. Well, this young man's going to spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. He is literally in prison for the rest of his life. I don't remember exactly how old Cameron is. I only met him literally at the day of trial that I was at. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him, didn't know if he was going to testify, hadn't had a chance to work through his stuff, just looked over the discovery. So, but he's in his mid-20s for sure. And lawful concealed carrier, had a valid Iowa concealed carry permit, never been in trouble with the law in any capacity whatsoever. I'm just saying that big lesson number one here is that you want to avoid the jury. I've said this before. A jury is like, I mean, it's 12 people, 14 with the alternates, but the 12 who voted are 12 people of an average age of around 50, somewhere in that ballpark, and an average IQ of 100. So when you add that all together, they have 600 years of life experience and an IQ of 1,200. And I liken that to a dragon. It comes to a single decision. So it's like a 600-year-old dragon with an IQ of 1,200. And what is a 600-year-old dragon interested in? I don't know. I can't peg it. And we say this again and again and again, that you never know what a jury is going to focus on. I think that the prosecutor did a good job of getting them to focus on some things that were miscast, but you don't want to stand in front of the jury because you might lose, okay? So you want to make sure you only use deadly force as an absolute last resort. And number two, you want to do everything you can to stay out of gunfights, all right? I'm just saying, I know plenty of people who've been in gunfights. I know people who have had the district attorney come and shake their hand and thank them for cleaning up their community, okay? I do know those. But man, you see ones like this and you're like, God, you want to stay away from this if you possibly can. You don't want to be involved in this because of what happens here and the consequences of it, right? And not the least of which is not only is Mr. Leonard going to spend the rest of his natural life behind bars, but his brother died in this too. And the whole rest of his family is wrecked over this, I'm sure. And even the other side, so the victim here, okay? So now, listen, he's a convicted murderer, so the guy that he killed, he murdered, the state says. All right, a jury of his peers said, okay. And their lives are forever changed. And man, stay away from this stuff if at all possible. This whole case came over a beef between Cameron's brother and a DoorDash driver, all right, is the way that boiled down. Now you read news stories, you go Google Cameron Leonard, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, you'll see some news stories. I will tell you that the news stories that I've read have not categorized the actual facts of the case very well. There's been some real selective reporting on that. I know that's going to shock you, but it's a beef between his brother and a DoorDash driver. And I think where the jury really got kind of sideways is that as Cameron and his brother went to go see if the DoorDash driver was there to see if they still had beef, rather than just let him deliver the stuff, leave it at the door, and leave. And so that really played into things. So avoiding, de-escalating, escaping are critically, incredibly important. And I'm telling you, I don't care about stand your ground. I know a lot of people, I can stand my ground. I don't have to retreat. The law says I can stand my ground. Yeah. And you can do that. But if the jury goes, yeah, but you were stupid to do so, and you should have just ran away and gotten away from the problem, you might spend the rest of your natural life in prison over it. I say again, I'm not a partisan. I just educate, right? I educate lawyers, educate, juries, I educate courts. This is why we do continuing legal education for lawyers and stuff like that. But you never know how it's going to go in front of a jury. You just never know. So you want to stay away from this stuff if you possibly can. And listen, there's no magic words that are going to get you out of that issue now. He's going to deal with that for the rest of his life. So even in cases where you could be justified, and I'm gonna set it up. I just literally found out about 30 minutes ago about the verdict, and so I'm sitting here doing this video just kind of spur of the moment. But I'll do something talking about all the issues, okay? And maybe even do the big channel analysis on the video. Let me get through some time. But if you can stay away from this, you want to and you need to, because no magic bullet, oh, okay, I'm going to hire John as an expert witness, and I'll do the best I can, but I don't win cases. The attorney here was a very well-intentioned, thoughtful, good attorney, okay? He's a good guy. doing the best he can on a public defender case. And so he's working for, highly reduced fees. He's working on a very limited budget. He has to approve every dollar that he spends through the court. And it's just a mess, and even with that, we can't guarantee that you're going to win. And this is a rich man's game. So, yeah, I would recommend Firearms Legal Protection so that you have at least the financial aspect covered, so you're not dealing with public defenders, constraints on time and money. But even with that, ugly facts make for bad cases, and this stuff isn't going to make me change my understanding of self-defense. I think the principles and the laws still apply in the same way. And I also think every once in a while, because the jury doesn't get to see things from the right manner, they come to decisions that I think weren't in line with the facts. But then there's the other side of it too, that even sometimes I'm wrong. And you got to just sit and think about that. Did I see it wrong? I don't think I did. I think I saw it right, but the jury disagreed with me. Stuff happens. Anyhow, my heart hurts tonight. I just pray, just like I do every day. I carry a gun every day. Told the jury that. I carry a firearm everywhere I go, and I pray to the Lord every day that I never have to use it. And outcomes like this remind me of why. God bless you, everybody. Hug your loved ones tight tonight, would you?